Birmingham.
Have you got your glass?
Pete's coming, isn't he? Pete lives round here.
Thank you very much.
Guess we'll play.
To the chair of Liverpool Walton CLP, Lena Simic. I just want, before they play, can we have a huge round of applause to Power Band? Absolutely magnificent. I mean, I think the brass band is God's own music, fashioned in the cave of Aeolus about 4000 BC. Absolutely brilliant. They made the march. Okay, I'll hand over to Lena.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Hi. My name is Lena Simic, and I'm a Walton CLP chair. And I would like to welcome you all here to Walton, here at the grave of Robert Tressell, whose life we are celebrating today. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful to see so many of you here. What a beautiful February morning, isn't it? Who would have thought that we have such a wonderful day today? It's absolutely amazing. So what is important to remember, that the city of Liverpool has been built with the blood of the working class people, but also lots of people who came from far away, or who weren't born in Liverpool. And Robert Tressell is one of those people who was originally from Dublin and who came and lived here. So also in this graveyard we have Muslim seafarers who are also buried here. And so to commemorate today's day, we are going to have a number of speakers and a singing as well, right? So in what order, Alan, first?
Right, first we're going to have the brass band, Power Band, playing us the great football anthem, Abide With Me.
Okay, so let's get started with that.
Very good.
that was beautiful. Thank you very much. And now to continue with our event, we will have here Mumin Khan from the Quilliam Mosque in Everton, who is going to speak to us here.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It was a great day after we've had such a terrible snow. But the day was made for us today. I'm delighted to be able to join the anniversary celebration of Robert Tressell. It's the first time that I have known about this person.
You have to shout, Moomin, even with the speaker.
I'm really happy to be here today with everyone celebrating Robert Tressell's anniversary.
That's as much as the speaker will do. Come forward.
I'm from England's first mosque, which was established by an Englishman in 1887. It's in Brom Terrace. So if you ever have a time, do come and pay visit. He's also another iconic person of Liverpool. But I'm also told some of the Muslim graves of the war memorial are here, which I'm really delighted to know. But the thing is, today we are celebrating the anniversary of Robert Tressell, and I'm delighted to be here, everyone. And I will always be here with you to celebrate his life and work. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to join you today. And what a wonderful crowd to be with everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, so after this, obviously I am assuming that you all know that Robert Tressell wrote the very famous Ragged Trousers Philanthropist, right? That's the famous book that we all know, and that has that famous money trick in it that tells us how we are all exploited by the capitalists of this world, and unfortunately that still continues. So we have to remember that we are still fighting not to be exploited. And now on to our wonderful socialist singers.
Okay, gather forward. I'm going to stand here. Is everyone gather forward? We'll start with Bread and Roses.
Hang on, people are still doing.
Okay.
We'll just have to do the best we can with the numbers.
Sing us loud.
As we come marching, marching in the beauty of the day, a million darkened kitchens, 1,000 mill-lofts grey, are touched with all the radiance that a sudden sun discloses. For the people hear us singing, bread and roses, bread and roses. As we go marching, marching, we battle to for men, our brothers in the struggle, and together we will win. Our lives shall not be sweated, from birth until life closes. Hearts strong as well as bodies, give us bread, but give us roses. As we go marching, marching, we're standing proud and tall, for the rising of the women is the rising of us all. No more the drudge and idler, tend that toil where one reposes, but the sharing of life's glories, bread and roses, bread and roses.
One more. One more. Do the international. Right, this is the Workers' International Anthem that began at the 1870 Paris Commune, the first workers' government in history. Only in one city, but one day it will be the whole world. Okay? The International, feel free to raise your fist in the traditional International Workers' Salute.
You can do one better, you can join in. If you know the words, you sing them. If you don't know the words, you sing the chorus. If you don't know the chorus, you hum the tune. If you can't hum the tune, you tap your feet. But do something and be ready for next time. One, two, three. Arise, ye starvelings, from your slumbers. Arise, ye prisoners of want. For reason in revolt now thunders, and at last stems the age of cant. So away with all your superstitions, servile masses, arise, arise. We'll change forthwith the old conditions, and spurn the dust to win the prize. You know this bit! So comrades, come rally, and the last fight let us face. The Internationale unites the human race. So comrades, come rally, and the last fight let us face. The Internationale unites the human race. The workers united will never be defeated. The workers united will never be defeated. The workers united will never be defeated.
Absolutely gorgeous that.
Thanks,
With
Jeremy.
bread and
Thanks
roses, let us remember that, and obviously the Internationale, that we are all in it across the world together in this struggle to finally get free. Now, we have next is our local trade unionist and Walton CLP Equalities Officer, and that is Sarah Morton.
Hi everyone, just this turnout is absolutely fantastic, and I'm made up to be invited to speak. So just wanted to say a few words about Liverpool and the history of Irish immigration and immigrants that this city is built on. Liverpool is a city built on immigration. Robert Tressell was himself of Irish descent, born in Wexford Street in Dublin. Like my ancestors and probably most of yours, Tressell had to leave his home to try and make a better life, travelling to South Africa and then to Hastings before finding himself in Liverpool prior to his death. The population of the city more than doubled from 220,000 in 1837 to 488,845 in 1871, and much of this increase was as a result of the arrival of Irish immigrants. Many re-immigrated, especially to the United States, but by spring 1847, 105,000 still remained. Former Liverpool MP Eric Heffer, a little cheer there please. Hey! Former Liverpool MP Eric Heffer, in Never a Yes Man, said over 90,000 Irish entered Liverpool in the first 3 months of 1846 as a result of the terrible potato famine. Almost 300,000 followed them in 1847 because of these hunger-driven, penniless people. There were 20,000 townsmen sworn in as the special constables, and 2,000 regular troops were camped in Everton. Sorry, I can't see. The Times, summing up the fascism of the British ruling class, said that every English working man carries an Irish family on his shoulders. Sectarianism marked Liverpool for many years, but the Great Transport Strike of 1911 opened the window to a future where our communities could live together. All the funerals of 2 workers killed in the strike, both orange and green ribbons fluttered. With the slum clearances and the establishment of the Labour tradition, sectarianism was undermined. The great Labour leader James Larkin was born in the Dingle. We in Liverpool can now look back at a history marked by famine and sectarianism, but forward to a unity based on the politics of hope, A socialist government led by Jeremy Corbyn is the next step to our long march. I'm sure Robert Tressell would have approved.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Sorry, my phone started singing then. The socialist things. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Sarah. And Sarah is going to be our future councillor in Clubmore. So, amazing, amazing. Thank you for giving us all this history. And now we are moving on. Dan, it's your turn now. So here is our MP for Liverpool Walton, Dan Carden, who is going to be a part of socialist government under Jeremy Corbyn.
Thank you very much, Lena. It is overwhelming to see all of you here today. I don't think anyone would have expected such a fantastic turnout. And can I start by thanking Alan Gibbons? All of you who know Alan will know that he's had leaflets on him. He's been on Twitter and Facebook incessantly. And I don't think even Alan thought we'd get any sort of turnout like this. But it just proves as well that with a brass band, you can do absolutely anything you like. So thank you very much to the brass band players, and thank you to the socialist singers as well. They've made it a fantastic tribute to this man here, Robert Noonan, better known as Robert Tressell. And what a privilege it is for me to stand in the House of Commons and to relay the story that he wrote over 100 years ago, The Money Trick, which exposed capitalism for what it is, exposed that the workers in this country and around the world have been exploited by a system that leaves them often with nothing or with very little. And it was the money trick in that fantastic socialist manuscript that exposed the true story. And what Robert Noonan wrote, and he wrote it by hand, by pen, in a notebook which was found decades later in a tin under his bed by his daughter. And that socialist manuscript has transformed this country and has given the socialist movements of our time things to think about and a story to get behind. Because for too long workers have been exploited. And I'm so proud of Walton CLP, which has sponsored this event and helped put this on. Because in the last year or two, we've stuck up for workers in this city. We've taken on Arriva and on the side of the bus drivers. We've taken on the train operating companies, supporting the RMT and protecting a guard on the train, which has public backing and which the public have supported week in, week out. And it is by being an active socialist Labour Party that we're seeing change take place. And the FBU, which this week has secured an incredible turnaround from the Labour Fire Authority, which wouldn't have been possible without the support of people and without us raising consciousness across this city. So just think what it's done to have us march through the streets of Liverpool with a brass band, with our banners, having people look out the window. We are raising class consciousness in this city. And it's only by doing that, by engaging the public, that we will win a Labour government in this country. And a Labour government led by Jeremy Corbyn will transform the lives of millions and millions of people. And that's why it's a privilege to now serve in his shadow cabinet and to fight the good fight alongside yourselves and to be a representative of working people, to be a representative of my class and the underprivileged in society down in Westminster. So all I want to do today is thank you all for coming out on this February morning. Thank you for changing politics in this city, because that's exactly what we're doing. We're changing politics in Liverpool, and we're building a movement that will transform not just this country, but the world. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Dan, for that inspirational speech. And it's wonderful to be a part of this social movement. All of us are actually part of it. Look at us now in 2019. and that we have this possibility that we will bring about socialist government in the UK. That's absolutely amazing. Here we are in this moment in the beginning of February, and it's just wonderful to be part of that, to feel that. And to close these speeches, we have Alan Gibbons. He is the secretary of Walton CLP.
Right, thanks very much for turning out, everybody. Should say a few thank yous to Lena for chairing it, to Dan and Moomin and Sarah and the Socialist Singers and Power Band, and most of all to thank all of you, every single one of you. It's fantastic to see the banners of the Liverpool Labour councillors, of the RMT engaging in struggle, of the FBU, of the Knowsley Unison and all the other banners, the Labour women, showing the strength, breadth of our movement. And I could keep naming people, I'm sure I'd leave somebody out. But we are together. We are one, and one day we shall be all. This movement is about raising up the poor. And Robert Tressell died tragically, a man who produced a book that sold millions, that inspired people to vote for the 1945 Labour government, that introduced the NHS and the welfare state and began public ownership. And this man at 41 died in a pauper's grave. And here's the big tragedy. There are 750,000 people in this graveyard, most of them who died poor. Is that relevant today? Hell yes, it's relevant today. Because of universal credit, because we've had the biggest squeeze on living standards in 200 years, because the ruling order wants to save their corrupt system by screwing the working class into the dust. Well, here's a message. If we can do this here in Walton today, and we can do this all over the country, and eventually we can do this all over the world, we shall rise against that system, and peacefully and democratically we shall tell you we are going to control the means of production. We are the many. And this is what Robert Tressell said, one of the most stirring things ever written. Poverty is not caused by men and women getting married. It's not caused by machinery. It's not caused by overproduction. It's not caused by drink or laziness. And it's not caused by overpopulation. It's caused by private monopoly. That is the present system. They have monopolised everything that's possible to monopolise. They have got the whole earth, the minerals in the earth and the streams that water the earth. The only reason they've not monopolised the daylight and the air is that it's not possible to do it. If it were possible to construct huge gasometers and to draw together and compress within them the whole of the atmosphere, it would have been done long ago. And we should have been compelled to work for them in order to get the money to buy the air to breathe. And if that seemingly impossible thing were accomplished tomorrow, you would see thousands of people dying for want of air, or of the money to buy it, even as now thousands are dying for the want of other necessities of life. You would see people going about gasping for breath and telling each other that the likes of them could not expect to have air to breathe unless they had money to pay for it. Let that sink in. That is the reality of universal credit. That is the reality of pay that has fallen 30%. That is the reality of modern Britain. And this is what Tressell said, because he did join a socialist organisation. Many of his members went into the Labour Party, many who went into the fledgling Communist Party, sadly strangled by the tragedy of Stalinism in Russia. And this is what he said about being a member of our movement. Every man, and he should have said woman, he was a single parent, he brought a child up on his own. He wrote beautifully in The Ragged Trouser Philanthropist about the oppression of women. He says this: every man and woman who is not helping to bring about a better state of affairs for the future is helping to perpetuate the present misery, and is therefore the enemy of his own children. There is no such thing as being neutral. We must either help or we must hinder. And that means everybody here is part of a great cause. We don't come out and have a march out of a matter of memory. We come here, as Joe Hill said, not to mourn, but to organise. And we want you on every picket line, at the RMT on a Saturday morning. We want you out petitioning the way we did over the FBU. We want you out on the knocker. We want you campaigning as we did for the Arriva bus drivers. Wherever somebody is fighting, as was said in the Grapes of Wrath, we will be there. And I'm going to finish with probably the most inspirational set of words. The greatest obscenity on this earth, even greater than poverty, is racism. And a great anti-slavery campaigner, once a slave himself, called Frederick Douglass, said this: those who profess to favour freedom and yet deprecate agitation, Chukaramuna, are people who want crops without ploughing the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the roar of its many waters. The struggle may be a moral one, or it may be a physical one, or it may be both. But it must be a struggle. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. So we will subject power to the examination of our voices. We will campaign in the May elections and we'll campaign in the general election for a socialist Labour government under the leadership of Jeremy Corbyn. And they will throw allegations at us. They will create their manufactured polls to demoralise us. We put on 21 points to stop them having a majority last time. Our vote has not gone down since then. We will kick on and we will deliver a Labour government. Because if we don't, we betray our people. So, I'll now stop and talk about the basics. I've done the thank yous. One huge thank you I've not made is to Maria Hornsby and the Rice Lane City Farm staff. They made this all possible. I brought my children here when they were little, and we went around the sheep and the goats and the, what do you call them, the donkeys. This is a beautiful resource, and we're going to make sure it's all struggling for money, that we don't let this go to the wall. There's going to be, when you go down to the chapel for your food, or for those scousers amongst you, your scran, you're going to go back down to the chapel and there's vegetarian food. And yeah, I'm a vegan. And you can get some food. You're going to get a leaflet. We're going to have a meeting of Warbrick and Fazakerley Labour parties, the closest to this place, with Sarah speaking about poverty, homelessness and universal credit. 21st of February in the Oral Park Community Centre. A couple of people do a couple of short speeches in the chapel. Talk to people like Mark Rowe of the FBU and the comrades from the RMT and the people from the Arriva strike. Just talk. Share our socialism, because we are sisters and we are brothers. So when we've finished, I'm going to thank you, and we can slowly make our way back to the chapel, fold up our banners, have some food and glory in the bright light of socialism. Thank you.
Hello, just before we go, can we have a massive round of applause for Alan Gibbons and Leonard, our secretary and chair. Alan, who's put a massive amount of work into this, and it's been a brilliant event. Well done, Alan.
Thank you. The memory of Robert Tressell. Yeah. Off we go. Thank you very much, everybody. make your way through to the chapel, get yourself something to eat and drink. Thank you so much for coming. Most appreciated. Thank you.